What's up, y'all? This is VJ Franz K, and I'm here with TNRi, the iPhone iPad app. What I've been doing is making some hip-hop beats on TNRi. See, I'm using the mixer mode now to fade in the parts. And I will explain, some hints for using this new app in a sort of hip-hop way. It works different than a lot of other apps. Let's get into this right now, shall we? First off, let's discuss the beats. You'll notice I have a straight line of notes here, but it sounds a lot more funky than you'd think from such a straightforward line. And of course, the reason is swing, which is something that you want to learn for any drum machine that you're making a hip-hop beat on. But in the TNRi, I'm going to find that in the play menu here. Here is the swing rate. Now watch me when I turn that back to 0, which is the default. Now it's completely straight ahead, which is sort of what you'll hear in a lot of techno music and electro hip-hop. Absolutely computer timing. Now when I start to slide it forward, notice how it just gets a little bit more of that funky feel to it around 3 and 4. As it gets way up, it starts to get that sort of reggae sound, of extreme swing, also which shows up in New Jack Swing. Which, the style of 90s hip-hop. Turn it way up, the notes are almost over the top of each other. Turn it backwards, negative swing, sounds really strange, but I don't know, occasionally you can find a use for it. It would be nice if this number was a dual-digit number, more than a single-digit value, so you could, really finely adjust the amount of swing, but maybe they'll add that in a future upgrade. Anyway, for this particular track, I think 4 was about right. Another very important thing is by holding R4, we enter the mixer mode. You'll notice this then becomes a line of sliders. So what I'm going to do then, those taps are not necessarily the main part of the track, so I'm going to fade them back. Notice what I have done is to separate the beats into, this is a very good general Tenori tip, is to separate the beats into a few layers. So here I have the sort of kick sounds on layer 1. So I can fade that up on the mixer, make it extra loud. Then I have the sort of snare sounds on layer 2. Hear that? So I can take in and out the kicks or the snares separately. Because, as of now, you can't mix the relative levels of the drums inside a kit. So the workaround is to, separate your drum beats into multiple layers like this. Or, you can see I'm using 3 layers here. One for the shakers, one for the snares, and one for the kicks. So, next we're going to talk about the bass. Gotta have bass if it's hip-hop. Gotta have the bass. Alright, to get the right bass on TNRi, you're going to want to carefully pick out what instrument you are using. Hey, that's kind of cool. Sometimes you discover something by accident. Sort of a nice organ sound. If you want to get a nice bass sound, of course what you'll want to do is take the octave and put it down, because this is the natural sound of this patch, and actually I don't even like that sound, when it's so high, but bring it down nice and low, and it becomes a nice sort of analog synth bass. Also, of course, adjust the sound length of your bass hits, don't let them be too long or else they'll overlap. You know, this is not a monophonic synth, this is a polyphonic synth, which means that more than one note can be heard at a time. So if I want my notes not to cover each other up, I'm going to have to, you know, set the right value for sound length. Generally in music, bass will be monophonic instead of chords. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, but generally you don't want more than one bass note at a time. Now check this out, these sort of mysterious bells that I have here. There are a lot of very ambient sounds on the TNRi patches, so you should have no trouble discovering that sort of sound. Of course, to get that extra sort of mysterious haunting sound, that's the standard octave. I have lowered it again an octave. You know, I recommend just experiment with the different sounds. Find the octave that matters for your composition. Alright, what else can we discuss? We'll bring the beat back. Bring that beat back! Alright, so brought the beat back. And let's see. Alright. You can hear the taps, or the sort of beeps there. There's the beeps and there's the beats. So let's see, one good way you can find out where your music is happening is just by flipping through the layers, and then you'll see, you know, the layers light up. In this case, it's sort of a chord of 3 little beeps. This is random mode. Now, you may not want to use this on a lot of hip-hop, just because most hip-hop is made on a standard sequencer like an MPC, where all of the parts are going at the same, all the parts are going in synchronicity. You know, here, you can have multiple parts that are going not in perfect sync. Oh, I like that, see? Random discovery there. You will hear a lot of little bleeps used as a backing element in hip-hop. Just do not raise their volume level too much, or they could become annoying. But they're just a nice little accent at a lower volume, so that's pretty cool. Now let's talk about the strings. You know, you'll hear these used as an accent in a lot of hip-hop production. So, let's see. Here I have selected, around here on the instrument selection matrix, you will find a lot of sort of string pizzicato. That's what it's called when the strings just come in a sharp little hit like that, instead of play for a long time. Now notice, by changing the sound length, you can get longer strings if that is what you want. To adjust carefully, you can always use the wheel to get a finer adjustment than on this line. Anyway, thanks for checking this out and using these hints and others you may find on my other TNRi videos. Let's see what kind of hip-hop beats you can make on TNRi. You can post them as video responses if you want. Don't forget to subscribe to VJ Franz K, especially if you're into the latest programs such as TNRi, or, you know, I recently did FL Studio Mobile, and they keep adding on new features, so we're going to go into those very shortly. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon. This is VJ Franz K signing out.